Hello everyone. The topic of this video will be virtual environments in Python. And we are going to talk about what virtual environments are, how you create them, how you activate them, what you use them for, and then I will show you how you can run Jupyter Notebook out of a virtual environment. So let's get started. What are virtual environments? So we are talking about virtual environments in Python, and the idea is that a virtual environment is just a folder that you run your session, your Python session out of for this specific session. So the folder contains everything that you need for the session. And when you activate a virtual environment, you constrain Python to only use files that are in this folder. So that includes your Python version, but also all the libraries that you load within your Python session. That means basically that, like I said, Python is constrained to this folder. And if you have a library installed outside of this folder, if you have activated this environment or this folder, Python will not find it. Because it is constrained to looking just in this folder. It's basically setting the path to just this folder. Why is this useful? So Python is an open source and community-based tool. And there's a lot of libraries and a lot of versions of Python, and they often do not go well with each other. So there are conflicts. It's useful that you don't install all your libraries that you ever need into just your main Python folder. It's better and best practices to have virtual environments for each project, where you only install the libraries that you need for that project, including the Python version that you need for that project, because sometimes specific libraries also, they change, and then if the Python version updates, then they don't work anymore. Another really good argument for environments is that you can share them. That means if someone wants to rerun your script, you can just share this folder. It's just a folder, and they can run the script out of this folder with all the libraries in this folder. It should then work compared to, sometimes you share a script and someone has like a different version of a certain library, and then it already doesn't run. So I'm going to show you how to create virtual environments. There are two main ways to do that, in my opinion. The first one is called venv, and the second one is using Conda. So venv is the virtual environment framework that comes pre-installed with Python. You can definitely use venv. I personally find that Conda is a bit more stable. So I have had a couple of issues with venv, but venv is usually probably easier to manage. Plus, you do not need to install anything else. It just comes with your Python version. We will now start actually with Conda. For Conda, so Conda is part of the Anaconda framework. So if you have Anaconda, the Anaconda GUI already installed on your computer, you should have Conda available. Otherwise, you need to go to the website, and I'll drop me the link in the terminal that you should see. And you can install your version of Conda onto your computer. No, that's not it. Let me just find that. So you just go to the Anaconda website, and there you can install the Anaconda version for your computer. You can either install the full Anaconda version, that means it comes with a full GUI, or you can install mini Conda, like version like this. So that's basically just a terminal version of Conda. That is also fine. And if you don't want to install the whole GUI, then that will be enough. You can check whether you have already Conda installed by typing conda -version into your terminal, and then you can see as I have Conda installed. Yeah, so the end idea, like the idea of this tutorial is first to install or like to create a virtual environment, install some libraries into it, but then also run Jupyter Notebook out of this environment. So basically that if you have Jupyter Notebook and you run your Jupyter Notebook, it basically just uses the libraries that are installed in your virtual environment that you're running it out of. So let's start with creating a virtual environment with Conda. You need to use the terminal for that. You see here that I am in my actually my root folder, and I can see all the folders that I have here. I would recommend maybe creating a test folder. So let's do that. For now, doesn't really matter. And let's move into this test folder, but it doesn't really matter. So now I'm really in this test folder. And now we're creating this virtual environment, and we use the command conda create -- name, and then we need a name for our virtual environment. Let's call it my_env. You can use whatever name you want here. And we hit enter. And it tells us, it says like here about my Conda version that I should update that. But in the end, you just hit yes. And it creates you that it tells you that it has created this environment. It's important to understand that this environment is not the folder that we are in. So it's somewhere else, the folder somewhere else, but it is a folder on your computer. And it just basically means that we've now created a folder that we will install all other libraries that we need for our Python session into. But at the moment, this folder is just somewhere on my computer. It is there, but it's not activated. So I have not told Python yet that I want to only use files out of this folder. In order to do that, like I said, I activate my environment, and I use the command conda activate, and then I use the name of my environment. And you see now that I have the name of the environment in front of my prompt. That means that I have activated my environment. I can also deactivate the environment again. That means Python is not using this environment anymore. That will be conda deactivate. And I don't think you need to specify the environment there now because you're already in it. But let's just activate it again. So this is now a completely empty environment, and let's now install some libraries into it. So if I want to now, for example, run Jupyter Notebook out of this, at the moment there's just nothing in there. So if I run Jupyter Notebook, it will tell me that it cannot find the Jupyter command because Jupyter Notebook is not yet installed in there. You can install libraries into this environment using either conda, so that's a specific command, or you can also use pip. But in order to use pip in a conda environment, you have to install pip. And you have to install pip using conda. So we can do that now. Let's install pip. So the command for installing libraries with conda is conda install pip. And now it's installing pip and a couple of dependencies into my virtual environment. So I say, yes, I want that. And now I can use pip to install any other libraries. I can also use conda, but not all libraries are usually available via conda. So sometimes it's useful to install pip if you want to use very specific libraries, especially ones that are less common. They're usually not available via conda. So let's install Jupyter Notebook using pip. And then let's activate it. Bam, there it is. You can't see that because I'm not sharing the screen, but it has now activated Jupyter in my browser. And now I could create notebooks in this folder and in this environment. So that was the first way to do this. Let's now kill this here. And let's deactivate this environment. So now we're back just in this folder. Also, just to show you that in this folder, we don't have anything yet because we don't have, we have not created any Jupyter notebook. Like we could have done that when running the server, but we didn't. So now let's move on to the second way of creating virtual environments. That is, like I said, VNF. You can, VNF is, like I said, you don't need to install anything. And the command to create a virtual environment with VNF is the following. So you specify the Python version that you want to use, and then an M for message command, and then the command VNF, and then a name for your virtual environment. So we can call this myenv again. Let's do that. Yeah, and the funny thing about myenv or VNF is that it creates the virtual environment. Like if you don't specify a folder, it creates the virtual environment in the folder that you're currently in. Conda also creates a folder, but it's in a special Anaconda directory that is also somewhere on your computer. You can also look at it, but it's not like here that you just see it. You would have to look, browse for it, and it's usually hidden. So whereas here you see this is literally just a folder on your computer, and it's in the directory where you just created it. You can move into this, so you can use the cd command. Look what it's in there. That's the wrong command, sorry. We have a bin and then a lib. In this lib folder, that's where all the libraries that you want to, when you install libraries, they go into this lib folder. And the libraries are also just folders. So they're folders with files, Python files. There's nothing else. Basically, everything on your computer is a file or a folder. Let's move out of that. And then similarly, you activate this VNF myenv framework or environment using a different command. You use source myenv bin activate, and we've just seen, in the myenv folder, there's this bin folder, and if you would have gone into this bin folder, which you can do in a second, you would see an activate folder. So you're basically just literally calling into this folder. You do that, and similarly, you have now an environment that is called myenv, but it's now a VNF environment. You could again install some libraries in there. Let's say, let me see, can we do? Yeah. Again, we have now installed Jupyter into this VNF. We can go into this myenv folder and into this bin folder. And you see here, we have activate And we should also have, let's go back to the lib folder. Ah, there's Python in there. Okay, I don't know where the, what did we just install? Notebook. It might be in the bin folder, but it's in there. Yeah, and then if we want to just deactivate this environment again, we can now also again run Jupyter Notebook out of there. Yep, there it is. Kill that again. And we can also deactivate. Where is it? Yep. This virtual environment again. We need to go to the root folder. The command is just deactivate. Yep, and we're out of this again. Yeah, and that's how you use different environments in Python. I hope this was useful. And yeah, see you next time.